Welcome to the Sparky Coach podcast. We are built by Sparkies for Sparkies. Our vision is clear. Make money, build wealth, be kind. Our mission is deliberate. We help electrical, solar, and aircon business owners generate revenue, drive profits, and control their time. If you would like to hear more about our program, please reach out. I'll chuck the link in the show notes and enjoy the podcast. We always hope it's beneficial for your business. We hope it cuts through noise and helps you understand what's important and what's non-negotiable. Thanks so much for all your support so far. We appreciate you. We love you. Enjoy the podcast. Sparky Coach podcast, Crowe here, back for part 3 of 11 ways to derail, to stunt, to fracture, to stop your business compounding. We believe that you are put on this earth. If you're put on this earth to run a trade business, and you'll know that's in your heart. You'll be like, yeah, I had it on my heart to start a business. It might not have been the perfect time. I might not have been the perfect person. I might not have been the world's best Sparky, but I just knew it was my time to start a business. I knew that I was really good at what I did, and I wanted to do it for myself. And you'll know. If that's you, you'll be driving going, that's me. I wasn't ready. It was a bit too early. I thought I was really good. 5 years in, I realized I wasn't that good. 5 years further down the track, I realized I really wasn't that good. 15 years down the track, I realized, wow, I was really not that good. It's like, but I took my chances and I played the hand that I was dealt. And some of you will just know. If you've got business on your heart, you will know. And you don't, I would say this, you don't have to run a business, but it should be, if you're here, you should want to do it. It's a choice. You can back out at any point. But I will say, backing out is not that glamorous either. Going back to be on wages on someone else's time, on someone else's dime as well. Like, do this way. You will turn up at 7 and work till 3:30. Like, being an employee is not all it's cracked up to be. If you're an employee, you hit a ceiling of earning capacity. A business owner, no real ceiling. An employee, 100% ceiling. No matter how good you are at roughing in and fitting off, and I stripped that PowerPoint in 7 minutes and fitted, oh my gosh, no one cares. Like your earning capacity is fully capped, make no mistake. And if you choose to be an employee, that's fine. And if you choose to run a business, let's get after it. Let's put a line in the sand and be like, no, this is my time. This is my time to shine. I'm trade God ordained and appointed. I'm here for a reason. I'm here for a purpose. I'm getting after it. I'm not going to let ego, insecurity, fear, someone else's pricing, someone else's opinion throw me off. I'm going for it. Love that. So check this out. We're in part 4. This has been a spreadsheet I've shared a lot called The Power of the Compound. If you want to play a copy, just reach out. Get this, right? We'll start conservatively. If you have $1 million revenue right now, and you might be like, oh, I've got way more than that. That's cool. And you might be like, I've got way less than that. That's cool. That's cool. Just level yourself out for a sec. I've been through multiple examples over the series, and I'd encourage you to go back and watch it from the start. But let's say you start with $1 million revenue, and you grow your revenue 10% year on year for 15 years. In year 15, you've got $3.8 million in revenue. Now, let's say I average the business net profit out at 20% across those 15 years, which is pretty conservative. And I've got a market wage, which is once again over there pretty conservative, what I can earn for someone else. Over 15 years, I've accumulated 8.4, almost just shy of $8.4 million not in revenue, in personal wealth and business wealth. Not even to mention my business is now an asset because it's producing. Let me say that again. Almost $8.4 million of personal wealth and business wealth, and you're left with an asset at that point. Now, if I up these figures to 15% year on year and 25% net, which is, what is a good net profit result? We believe between 20 and 35%. 35%, you're fully cooking, in my opinion. If you can achieve more, you're probably in the home automation space or moving a lot of materials with a margin on it. That's great. Speakers, aircon, solar, batteries. That's awesome. So 15% year on year over 25% net profit. You've accumulated almost $14 million in personal and business wealth over 15 years. It's not a mistake. $14 million. So do you see yourself running this business for 15 years? Ask yourself that question. Look at yourself in the mirror and be like, am I here to hit it and quit it and get everything I can out in 3 years? And so many people preach fast growth and do this really quickly and get here and you can be at this point. And it's just not everyone's story. I promise you, everyone can grow a business 10% year on year over 15 years. If you keep doing the right thing, if you keep having the hard conversations, if you keep on top of your numbers, if you keep your eyes on the prize, if you can see the forest and the trees, if you retain long-term staff members, if you retain long-term clients, if you build and maintain good to great relationships, you too can do this. If I sat you down over a coffee or a beer or kombucha and said, I want you to grow this thing 10% year on year, what would you say to that? You'd be like, you can do that. And if I said to you, I want you to hit a minimum 20% business net profit, you might not be there now, but you'd be like, all right, I could work towards that. I can definitely do that. And then if I said to you, you'll be accumulating $8.5 million in the next 15 years, you'd cash those chips in. So if you feel behind, if you coulda, shoulda, woulda bought that property in 2003, if you coulda, shoulda, woulda made a better decision in 2013, if you coulda, shoulda, woulda not gone into that bad business deal in 2020, if you coulda, shoulda, woulda bought an investment property in 1999, if you coulda, shoulda, woulda thrown a football over those mountains in college, if you coulda, shoulda, woulda done something, forget about it. Level playing field. It's nil all. I'm ready to go in, coach. Just give me a chance. It's nil all. It's halftime. Reset. If I gave you your business right now, sometimes you have to use what's in your hand to fulfill what's in your heart. What's in your heart is no doubt some form of personal wealth and business wealth and some sort of, I'm going to look after my family and some sort of, I'd love to get that house at that point and some sort of kindness. I'd love to make good money and help that community out. That cause out. I'd love to make good money and pay my staff members well. I'd love to do this and this. So much of what's on your heart is so important, and we want to keep one hand on that, but we also want to have one hand in, well, what's in your hand right now? A business where you've created something from nothing, where people are paying you. Yeah, it might not be profitable yet, or yeah, it might be profitable, but people are giving you money to supply labor and materials. They're saying, I trust you. They're saying, can you help me out here? They're saying, we've got this, let's partner together. You should be very proud of that. And you should honor that. And you should, if you just use what's in your hand well, if you just paid yourself a market wage and super and hit a business net profit of 20% over 15 years, you too you can land in a really, really, really amazing position in 15 years. And if you're climbing your way out of debt, how long are you going to be in debt for? I promise you, if you put your head down, maybe 2, 3, 4 years, and then you're blown out of there into your trade God ordained destiny of making money, building wealth, being kind. So cool. So cool. All right, we are on point number, I think 7 and 8 of how 11 ways to derail and stunt and fracture and stop your business compounding. Get this. Point number 7. Stay really involved in the day-to-day site operations. If you want to derail and stunt and fracture your business's, reputation or growth potential or opportunity, you got to stay right as a micromanager. You got to go and push an apprentice out of the way. This is how you fit a PowerPoint off. You're like, give that to me. I would nail that board in 4 hours. I would have roughed that place in 4 days, not 5 days. By staying in the weeds on the day-to-day site stuff, guess what? On site, you have to be fully present. In the office is beautiful. You can be omnipresent. You can be quoting multiple jobs across multiple sites and multiple variations and being the puppeteer across 10, 20, 30, 40 sites across a day. When you're on site, you are in the one place. You are not omnipresent. On site, you have to be fully present. When you've got to be roughing in and fitting stuff off, you can be missing things, missing phone calls, missing opportunities, missing quotes to get back on time, missing variations, missing job notes. Have you ever written your job notes on the back of a Clipsal Classic PowerPoint box? Guilty as charged. with the box for me. I remember one year I was so busy, and and busy is a subjective word, but I felt like I was so busy, and I was taking job notes in voice memos, job notes on the back of a bit of cardboard, job notes into a job management software, job notes into Xero, job notes on the back of my hand, job notes in notes section, job notes everywhere. If it could have been stored somewhere, it was stored somewhere. And I remember going through my invoices, being 3 or 4 weeks behind and having to plan it out. And I was like, oh, that's been on that bit of cardboard. Oh, that's there. Or where was I on February 2nd, 2007? It's crazy. The amount of money and opportunity you miss by being in the weeds, by staying in the weeds, is crazy. When you're in the weeds, when you're on site, and as you grow, if you wanted a loose formula, if you're by yourself, you need a day in the office. And for every trader you get, you take another day. If you're trying to take full-time office and you've only got 2 staff members, I promise you your net's more than likely cooked. There's a 95 to 98% chance that your net profit is cooked because you're too operationally heavy. Your gross profit might be okay, but your net's going to be cooked. And you've got to get out of that season as quickly as you can. The numbers won't stack up. It's so important that you understand your break-even rates and how to control them. I would say, and I'm biased, but if you've seen our Beastimator, if you've seen our break-even and calculator, our forecaster, there's nothing like it. No one controls it better than us. We know exactly what your business... I sat with someone yesterday, we're like, what if we add 2 tradies, add an operations manager, add an admin, and I get, remove myself from the day-to-day operations of the office? Where does that put me? And we worked out his overhead went from $54 per hour to $57. Cool, do that. That's your next 12 months sorted. You need to know how to control this stuff, or you need to be partnered with someone who does. If you're too operationally heavy, it's very, very hard to make money. Okay, when you're in the weeds, when you're on site, you lack elevation. There's 2 major problems with elevating or lack of elevating. If you're too on the ground in the business, if you hear this all the time, working on the business, not in the business, if you're too in the business, you lack the forest from the trees. You lack foresight, you lack vision, and you're just in the grind, in the hustle, being busy, working so much, and there's only so much you can give. You only have so much capacity. You only have so many hours in the day. You only have so much. How long can you give 50 to 60 to 70 to 80 hours per week for? And if you've got no kids, you'd be like, I'm going turbo psycho. And if you've got kids, you're like, you know what? I really would like to be home for Bed Bath and Beyond. Bed Bath and dinner. What's going to happen at Beyond? No one knows. It's a mystery. Okay, so stay in the day-to-day operations. If you want to stunt the business growth, stay on site for as long as you can. Because on site, you are just one person producing 8 hours. When you remove yourself into the office, you can be controlling 400 hours, 500 hours, 300 hours. Make no mistake, the more labor and materials you sell, the more money you should make. If you're selling 40 hours of labor materials, you should be making X amount. If you're selling 400 hours of labor materials, you should be making Y amount. Also, if you're just by yourself, you should have a goal to grow a little bit, because you can't go on holidays. You can't have a public holiday. If the phone rings on Friday afternoon and you're the only person that can go, then guess what? You're gonna have to go. And you can't say no because it might be your best client. What if 3 of your best clients want you on the same day? There's so many problems that can happen. So while you might not want to grow to 1 million people, you might want to have some sort of appetite for some sort of growth. I will say this. On site, the people on site, the field staff you hire, the billable people you hire the best people you can. Hire the best people. Don't be scared to pay a little bit more for them. Hire the best people you can. Train them and keep them long-term. There is no substitute for long-term staff members and long-term clients. Your site should be a well-oiled machine. If you're working with massive kooks, you can expect your staff members to get frustrated. You can expect your clients to get frustrated. You can expect to be frustrated. You can expect your office staff to get frustrated. You can expect everyone to get frustrated, because what is the end game of keeping these average staff members? What is the end game? You're just going to frustrate all the people around your business ecosystem. So don't do that. With apprentices, wow. I'm a big advocate for apprentices, especially the way we see overheads. apprentices can really help and bless your calculator. But there's no substitute for an excellent apprentice. Someone that works with you, that knows your skill set, that knows what's achievable in a day, that knows your style, knows how you operate, knows the clients, knows the structure, knows the systems, knows the processes. That's absolutely legendary. And I really think it's the right thing to do for the next generation. So yeah, apprentices, training someone from within. I remember we had people come into their time and I'm like, wow, you are so much better than the subcontractors we're getting, or you're so much better than that other person we got from the other company. So if you want to stunt your business operations or your business growth, stay involved in the day-to-day operations for as long as you can on site. It's really important. You know, if you looked at it like a formula, that if you're busy and you can't get on top of all the work, it might be a hiring indicator, because you can only push so hard for so long before you need the overflow. And the older I've gotten and the more I got on in business, the more it's just a formula. So there's X amount of work coming in. We've got this work coming into the future. We've got these short-term and long-term projects. Yeah, cool. It's hiring time. You get a really good feel for that. So you got to remove yourself from the day-to-day site stuff, because you can only do so much and you can only be in one place at one time. It's very sketchy territory. And when you're in there, it's so hard to get that elevation where you can be like, oh, I've got to price that job properly. I've got to get that back. And the money's made or lost in the office. Point number 8, stay really involved in the day-to-day office operations. So if everything in the office is falling on you, that is bad. And you've basically got to treat it the same as site. When your schedule fills up and you're performing, who else can do this mundane work? The first thing to go has to be reconciling, moving into job note checking, moving into invoice preparation, moving into quote preparation, moving into scheduling, moving into purchase orders, moving into wholesale reconciling, all this kind of stuff. We've got a big list of this stuff. But I guarantee you, you don't have to do everything. I remember in my business being like, no one can prepare the invoices like me. I'm the best person that's ever put on a typewriter, one finger typing like it's 1991. 4, 5. I remember just being like, no one does this like me. And what you're going to want to do, both on-site and off-site, is build processes. Now, what is a process and a system? It's just like, I know it's just everyone gets I've got to get a system. And it's just simply, a system can be omnipresent. A system is like, hey, this is what a cost plus invoice looks like. Hey, we check the job notes between 9 and 9:30 from the day before. Hey, this is what time we prepare the invoices. Hey, this is the schedule you'll stick to. A system just enables, it gets out of your brain onto a document or into some sort of PDF or into something. And you're like, oh, cool, that's what they expect of me. So instead of having to micromanage everywhere, and if you're quoting via gut feel, that sucks. Quoting is simply just a supply and labor materials. I'm buying labor materials, I'm selling it at a profit. What am I buying it for? Cool. Put a margin on it, sell it. That's it. So surely someone else can do that. You're not the only person in the world that's dealt with these problems before. So sometimes in business, we can feel so isolated, like no one does it like me, or no one's been through this before. And I promise you, everyone's been through this before. It's a very common stage you get to. But if you want to stunt the business growth, stay doing the invoicing, stay reconciling every single night, stay opening the computer every single night, stay unproductive, stay doing all the scheduling, just stay doing everything. But it's crazy, right? When you're coming out, and this is what the second part of what I was saying before, you can be too in the business, yes, but you can be too out of the business too. When you're too removed from the business, when you're too, I'll just get an admin and just do it, and you're sort of too elevated, you're out of the rhythm, you're out of helping them, you're beyond reproach, and that you don't have a finger on the pulse. Things can go terribly wrong. If you're too in, you're in the weeds, can't see anything. If you're too high, you're too removed. There's going to be huge issues. So whenever you're handing over any task, be it site or administration, you're going to want to stay there for a little bit longer. You're going to want to invest a little bit more in that person. You're going to want to just slow down to speed up. You're going to want to be like, Oh, hey, why did that mistake happen? Cool. What do you need from me? Just double check. One of the smartest things we've done recently is implement a half an hour catch up with all our key team members every week. Just keeps our finger on the pulse. How are you going? Where's the blockages? What do you need from us? Anything else? Repeat, repeat, repeat. Keep your finger on the pulse. Your culture doesn't break, crumble. Someone has to steer the ship. Just like I said before, on site, you need to hire the best people. In the office, hire the best people and treat them well and retain them for as long as you possibly can. The goal is surely to retain long-term clients and long-term staff. If you want to derail your business, fracture your business, stunt your business, stop your business compounding, then fail to retain long-term staff or fail to retain long-term clients. Now, this is really interesting because you need to work with weapons and you need to work for weapons, and you need your product to be really good. If you're working for the wrong people, or if you're working with the wrong people, so if you've got bad staff and bad clients, you need to change that. You cannot continue on with the wrong people, and you cannot continue on when you're working for the wrong clients. Something must change. So if you want to derail, stunt, fracture, stop your business compounding, stay really involved on site and stay really involved in the office. Surely the goal is that we would have the choice. We're removed from site, we're removed from the day-to-day operations, and we have the choice. Do I stay and work? Do I employ someone else in my role? Do we scale the business up? Do I step back? Do I sell it? That's the goal. Whether you want to sell or not is irrelevant to the fact that you should be able to if it came up. There's a great book called Built to Sell. I would encourage anyone to read it. The concept is amazing. It's just like whether you're going to sell or not is irrelevant to the fact that you really should set your business up so it could be possible. Thanks for hanging out. Coming back for point 9, 10, and 11 in part 4. Peace. That's a wrap on another episode of the Sparky Coach podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. It would mean a lot to us if you could like and subscribe on YouTube and Spotify and leave a comment if you think that pleases the electrical gods. And we hope this episode and all our episodes propel you in your trade God ordained destiny of making money, building wealth, and being kind. Thanks so much for all your support. See you guys soon.